You are watching Access LaPorte County, Channel 97. Coming up next is the April 15th, 2024 meeting of the Long Beach Advisory Plan Commission. You can find more information for this meeting by visiting www.accesslaportecounty.org.
Good evening. This is the meeting of the Advisory Plan Commission. The date is April 15th, 2024, and it's 7 p.m. I'd like to call the meeting to order at 7 o'clock. And I can take minutes. So I need a motion to call the meeting to order. I don't need a motion. I would like to do a roll call, and right now Meg is not on Zoom, correct?
No.
Our clerk treasurer. All right, so we don't have to do, we can just do roll call. Kendra? Here. Jim Diener?
Here.
Diana Holt?
Here.
Matt Karstrand? No. Seth McCormick?
Here.
Anita Remages here. Is that might be Meg Collins checking in. All right, can I make the first order of business approval of minutes? Oh, no, we first have to do the
Nomination of officers.
So the APC I have been asked by Joyce Schmidt, the president of the council, to be the acting chair, but we have to nominate a chair and a vice chair. And I will open the floor to nomination.
Yeah, I was gonna start with the nomination of chair, and then the chair can officially take over and entertain for vice chair and then move forward.
And I can't appoint myself.
You can't appoint yourself, there's a vote.
Oh, no, can I nominate myself?
I nominate Anita Remages.
There you go. Is there a second? Second. Who was the second?
Kendra.
Oh, Kendra, thank you. And I'll take a vote, please, or all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. And as the chair, I would make a motion to I'd like to entertain a motion for a vice chair. I would be happy to nominate Diana Holt. And I would see if there's a second.
That motion.
Thank you.
Nomination.
Thank you. And I'll take roll call, Kendra, or if everyone is agree with just aye.
All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
As many meetings as I went to, you'd think I would know what I'm doing. It's a lot of pressure. And I'm trying to he took his own minutes. I'm trying to do the same thing.
We can compare.
Okay, fine. Yeah. I would like to take a motion to approve the minutes of October 9th, 2023. I think you all have copies or were able to access copies.
So moved.
Second, thank you. The APC minutes of October 9th, 2023 are approved. I'm sorry. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
I'm only gonna abstain because I didn't go to the meeting. I mean, they look fine, but I can't attest to if they're right or wrong, so I'm not gonna vote, so I'm.
Oh, that's a good idea.
They need to get it. So,
Well, they need to get approved, so Kendra will abstain.
they look good to me, but I don't know if that's what was said or not, so.
All right, thank you. All right, and we are now moving on to old business, of which there is none, as far as I could tell, but I wasn't sure if you are continuing a discussion that was years ago. It's new business, so it's all new business then,
Yeah, we had,
as I look to say.
there was stuff that we had discussed, but it was tabled per se, it's guidance from the town council, so we don't have anything on the agenda.
Thank you. New business, there is a letter that Ellen Lynch, who's here, wrote. I apologize because I was going to make copies of it here for you. I only had that. So I will make copies and give them to everyone, but I thought it might be helpful if Ellen just discussed briefly. Can we do that, Chris, that she can just discuss briefly what her letter was?
Sure. Let's need to go to the mic. Need to go to the mic and introduce yourself. Yeah.
Thanks. Not yet, there it goes.
My name is Ellen Lynch. I live at 2225 Lakeshore Drive. And I do believe that this came before the ABC under the old regime because Dr. LeMay had brought it to a town council meeting. Anyway, we're asking Courtway, which is kind of the name of our alley behind our homes on the 2200 block of Lakeshore Drive. I'm on the hillside. Has an alley in it, and it stops our two homes, the Kennedys and my home, do not have this same paved alley, and then it starts up again and finishes off onto Hazelton. So there's just our two houses that don't have this paved alley. Rumors saying, I've heard stuff, Mr. Keene behind me had given his, why he didn't want it there and everything, but we would like to have this alley to have access. Especially my neighbor, because she is housebound. There is no room at all around her house. She's got a small little house. She's got 2 parking spaces in the front, which really are town property. And she, being able to get behind and have same access to the back of our yards would be nice, that she could actually pull a car, park it on grass if she needed to. And she has 4 boys. God bless her. Anyway, and we have utilities back there. Electricity goes into the homes around there from the pole. It's never been a bother. I think one time in the 9 years I've been here, I had the truck in my driveway for a few hours to get at it. So, because it is literally in my backyard between the Kennedy house and my house. So anyway, that's what we're asking for. We're asking for whatever we need to do to see if we can push forward or have something done about having the Courtway finished, a paved or fixed for between the two, the one on one end and the other end. So that's what this letter is about. So,
All right, thank you.
okay.
All right.
So is it currently just unpaved, or is there nothing? Nothing, okay.
I have my thing here, if you want to read it, so.
Yeah, I kind of want to look at the.
Okay.
Time for it, is it okay?
Yes, thank you.
It's not that it almost have a name, but this one. Oh. This is Lakeford Drive, and these are our two lots. And it is paved from Hazelton to Eric and Ryan's house, and it's here with the bottom here.
So it's just that space in the middle that's kind of wooded with.
Well, I will say this, when you come up to this is the Walsh house now, there is a hill that goes down here. And on this side is the Keene property, he wants to have like 4 or 5 lots over here. He said he asked them not to pave it, I don't know how true that is, but that's regardless, doesn't mean anything. This part of this whole family is not everything.
I don't know that we want it to be, you know.
And who asked not to have it? I mean, I guess it was.
We all these, everything will be, you know.
Okay,
It's completely, it's not really important.
Okay.
But we would like to, Don, I don't know that we're looking for, it's all black tops. And I don't,
Blacktop.
we'd be happy with it just to be graded and put snow down so we can get a vehicle down there. It's 15 feet. I think I have, here's my measured according to this. Whatever it is, this should be like 15 feet here.
so there's blacktop there.
There, when you come off of, Chastleton and go down there,
Mhm.
the garbage trucks go down. And pick up all the garbage in the end of the block. And on the other end of the block, because our, the way our houses are built, everyone is able to have their garbage totes out front. And I think Coker is taking out of the block because they're on the side of the other. And then you can come down this alley and that's all paved except, you know, just behind our houses, all this is paved. And so,
Because this is the house that just sold that.
yeah, very much.
Yeah, and then this is, the former town council member's house.
Oh, here.
Yeah, and this is Eric and Brian Satterley, right?
Yeah.
And then, okay,
And so I think, you know, this is like, this last, I think this is last, I don't know how long. So we're here and the Kennedys are there.
interesting. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so that's what, yeah, I mean, you know, I know it's gonna be, they're gonna come down and all that, but, and we're not. I'm just gonna beat you to death with a velvet glove. Okay. So what,
Maybe-
do that continue?
So I mean, make the point, I'm not sure that this is the proper party or, body
You?
that request.
Oh, okay.
With the town councils, the one that has that authority, so you put it even if you wanted to.
Oh,
Okay, so,
I think,
yeah, that was gonna be my next question, was like, how do we do that? 'Cause we had a section,
It's the town council. The town council has the authority, essentially, you're giving up town property, the town council represents the ownership of it. And there is a procedure, and I will say that, you know, as you
Yeah.
experience, and I'm not speaking for, and we had this discussion at the building commission level. Historically, the town has not, vacated those, and whether the town decides to do anything with that is up to the council as well, and that's the budget and all of those things. So you have no authority to say this is going to happen or put any plans in place. The council is the proper person to put that in place.
yeah, so I think what he's saying is that I think the proper way to do this would go to petition town council.
okay,
And then town council would discuss amongst themselves, and then they would direct us the way that they wanted to direct us to
who's
put
that?
together a plan.
Oh.
Yeah,
I
they-
did talk to, chief, and he said it would be a certain kind of thing that would have to be planned to be done, you know, in the future.
And hence, that's where the council comes in. It's a budgeting thing. It could be part of CCMG, for instance, and paving of roads and those kinds of things. So it is certainly something that has to go before the town council.
so at this point, just to set, or so we just direct Ellen, thank you for coming in, and you need to
Take the same show to the town council.
take the
Yeah.
same show to the town council.
I did, with the agency, and then it did come to the town council, and at the time, there was no money, it was just kind of like, I think it was their last meeting. That this happened too, so I mean.
All right.
We record to the town council.
Well, can I just ask maybe Chris a question? Because you said that the town would be giving up town property, but how is,
Speaking of this vacation, then it's not. She's asking for it to be approved. I'm used to the opposite. So
right, okay,
either, so whether it was a vacation or an improvement, both.
okay,
Yeah, both.
okay, because it's,
The bottom line is the town council is the representative of the owner, so.
yeah, okay.
All right, thank you. The next business is, should I ask if this is even the appropriate place to discuss this? We talked about it before, whether APC would want to look at the same issue, which is, I guess, placing a limit. I think the way we worded it before was placing a limit on square footage and how we would do that.
Yeah, so just for those that are new, or now that you're on this side of it, you can discuss your advisory in nature.
Okay,
And so, what you do has great impact in this process, and one that how we're changing zoning code and all of those, but you can certainly make any recommendations that you want to the council. Quite honestly, if it were in reverse, the council is likely to refer to you to do that homework and to make a recommendation if you get to that point. As you stated in the past, this was considered by former versions of the APC, kicked around a little by the council, I think probably discussed twice on the APC. And everybody had, I mean, that doesn't mean that's how you have to decided that the zoning code was sufficient. I think building commission, and if you were decided for conversation, really you're taking the straw poll, right? Is there enough interest to look into this issue, and are there ways, that we want to see if we can limit or address these issues, or is it not an issue? And it kind of ties in some of your other things here with the comprehensive plan as well as reviewing and what you are trying to set the stage.
And I mean, I'll just make a comment on this. I mean, and this does tie into the comprehensive plan because the building commission, I think, referred the issue specifically of the possibility of this Vermillo Bear Farms to the advisory planning commission to make a determination of whether or not the size of that house itself was in conjunction with or complied with the intent of the comprehensive plan. And at the time, I think we made a determination that the house itself complied with all of the setback and it complied with the zoning code, and therefore it complied with the comprehensive plan. My thought on both the size issue and the comprehensive plan issue is that the town council makes a determination that it wants to have a size or volume or whatever we're going to call it limit, and they need to tell us that. And then we can go about implementing that based on their instructions. My recollection of the size requirement or the size limit that we discussed previously was we could never really come to a number, and we decided that that the current zoning code had limitations in place that pretty much met the needs of a size requirement. The Yellow Bear Farms is, I think, a very specific one-off because I don't think you could collect a lot that size now if you wanted to in Long Beach because they're just not available. So my thought is to let the town council make a determination whether or not they want this, and then we can try to implement it. But if they're asking for us to, in terms of us trying to just plan it ourselves and propose it to town council, I would propose the meeting not.
okay.
That's my opinion.
Add to that, because I just want to clear, and I know Seth is familiar with this, and because this has been kicked around, but procedurally, the APC, the way, this would be something that would amend the zoning. So the way the changes to the zoning code, amendments, additions, subtractions, et cetera, can be initiated by you. And then you go through the process and publish and have public hearing, go through the process, have public input, and then you vote, favorable recommendation, not favorable to the town council. Then the town council that starts their clock ticking, and if they don't act within a certain amount of time, what you do here, it is serious because that automatically becomes law. That becomes a valid ordinance, or they can make some changes and kick it back, and then it starts your clock again to consider those, or their changes become automatic. The rest of it is at your pleasure of how you'd like to go about getting input or starting that process. But both sides can start it. The issue is, not to speak for Seth, is to kind of spun some wheels on this, and before because it's going to take some effort, right? And researching some similar, if there are any, to this community, and what ultimately you want to do. Because I would imagine it's going to be something that's will garner a lot of interest.
Yes. I was gonna ask the other comments.
We've got quite a few lots still available in that area. Okay, so with respect. We good now? So Yellow Bear Properties is within two associations. And I'm not certain most of Long Beach has multiple associations as our neighborhood does have. So, for example, we have the Lake Claire Association, and we also have a Hidden Shores Association. I'm on the board of the Hidden Shores Association. We have bylaws and we have covenants. And when somebody buys a piece of property, they have to sign on, as soon as I don't, it's a homeowners association. So within our town, we have some restrictions that are probably more stringent than even Long Beach has. For example, within our covenants, there's no way anyone could ever have a 3,800 square foot shed. In fact, within our covenants, someone may be not even allowed to have a shed based on the property sitting, and the size of the home that's being planned with that size property. So I don't know how that works, with respect to the town and the APC and the building commission, if we are more restrictive. And we have obviously enforced that in the past.
Well, more restrictive, you're always allowed to be more restrictive, and the building commission, when they go through their process, always, and especially mindful of those that are part of homeowners associations, that there's proper permissions, et cetera, that are demonstrated to the building commission.
So I'm going to bring up this point too, because I'm not certain in the past, either the building commission or even this board always took into account what those other covenants or restrictions might be. And so I might ask that when there's new construction occurring, and again, I don't know how many lots there are throughout Long Beach, but we probably still have, we might have 12 or 14 lots, or maybe more, still available over in that part of Long Beach.
So I have a question, and I'm hoping it's not out of line, but somebody might know, but when you talked about, like, in your town, like, that your town is governed by Lake Claire and Hidden Shores HOAs. Right, I mean, right, but
We have covenants, yes. And
covenants, okay.
there are some restrictions, that's all. Some of the little, I mean, we have a lake, the Lake Association actually is responsible, pays taxes for that lake, which all the people that are around the lake are members. So I mean, it's a little different than maybe other parts of Long Beach.
Yeah, and I think, for instance, like Pete, for instance, there was one where somebody wanted to build out over their dock and taking into consideration. Now, the problem with some of these is you're gonna have somebody who's a historian of it, right, or passes that along and that knowledge, so that if someone's not aware, a new version of the building commission, for instance, that you exist.
We have a 10-foot restriction on docks.
Yeah,
But I'm not.
but the town will give it,
Docks, so there's years of that.
but the town, at the same time, takes a position. We don't know if we even have the ability to give a permit for this, for instance, because it's not within our purview. So, you know, bottom line is the town can enforce what the zoning code says and the other building requirements. However, they are noted, especially in that area, and I'm speaking from recollection, that they have come up that there have to be compliance, and then that's incumbent upon the associations to pay attention, right, and to make sure that
Maybe do a better job communicating with the building commission.
But I guess that was my question, that so overall, of Long Beach, our zoning ordinances and ours would override the HOAs, or,
So,
no, okay,
so
we can't.
it's twofold.
Right.
They work together. So
Okay.
your zoning ordinances are the law of the town, right? That's what says your height requirement, but their if they say something that's more lenient, you can have a 40-foot tall house, well, they cannot, because unless they got a variance.
Oh, okay.
So they can have different, but generally they're more restrictive than what yours are.
Okay,
So they supplement, they address some things that you don't, or they want to, address their. Well, they really all kind of work in conjunction with each other, or should.
Well, the building commission can only interpret the zoning code of the building code. They're not responsible for interpreting the HOA bylaws or the deed restrictions. Those are agreements between the homeowners and the HOA. So the HOA is responsible for the rules. I mean, my thought would be that building commission would grant a building permit subject to an interpretation by the HOA, and the HOA is responsible for it.
And what they've done on the recent one is make them bring in a signed letter from the association saying this is okay. And, the building commission or at the BZA level, we recently talking about some of the potential changes is doing like they do in other municipalities, which is having a report from the police, fire, street, water, seeing if there are any issues. And so, maybe another question along the line is either building commission or BZA, usually you're supposed to identify any covenants and restrictions that run, with the property. And so that could assist. But I think as far as the building commission is concerned, at least the recent vintage of the versions of it have been pretty cognizant when something's there, that something does exist, so that at least triggers, we want to see proof that you have the authority to build on this lake, for instance. But you're right, I mean, I don't think that the building commission would like less, they certainly would like to find some way to streamline that communication, because it helps all sides.
and I think my other point was and this is property that, I mean, I'm familiar with, and Kendra is too, so it's the, I think it's Mr. North, the Jimmy John, so he owns property across from Kendra's house on Oakenwald. He owns the property, what would you say, behind it, Kendra? It's over on Avondale. And then it's my understanding that, he has purchased, a lot, on Oakenwald, and I don't know her address, but next to Donna Kavanaugh's house. And then whether or not he purchases her house. So I guess that's where it all came, when people were, you start buying one lot and another lot. And then if you decide to go in and tear down the houses, then you have 3 or 4 lots to work with. So I think that's what we were getting at several years ago, and then it ultimately didn't go anywhere. So there are more lots available than in Long Beach Cove, but there still is the possibility in Long Beach to do that with homes. Or if you sit on a home, I think that's what happened on Lakeshore Drive. I think they bought a couple properties over a period of years, and then you tear them down and you start over again. So I guess at this point, would the question be that this is something the committee would like to discuss again? Would we rather ask town council if it's something that they would like us to look into? Is there no interest in it at the time? Is that reasonable to ask all those questions?
So if somebody wanted to propose a motion to explore it or to not explore it, I think that would be the way to get this, right? If people want to explore, creating some sort of volume or size ordinance, then they start working on it, both can vote to wait for direction from Duncan's.
Would you like to make that motion?
Well, I don't think we're gonna like the motion, but
Oh, well,
I would vote that we wait for direction from town council before exploring the size of the zoning ordinance.
do we have a second, and then we can have discussion, right? A second on Seth's motion to wait for,
And to that point, as you're going down, it might be appropriate to get to the bigger issue is review and consideration of the comprehensive plan. So. Trusting that's one specific issue was likely, and then the assessment points were what the comprehensive plan and the same discussion on the building commission. So taking that into account is, you know, what you ultimately decide to do on that front too, with review, update, whatever that suggestion might be.
So I just have a question. So is there a ask from this homeowner in front of us? Like, I just, am like, I understand the conversation, but what does 1% lot equals 3,000 square foot shed mean?
I think it's an example. There's no ask.
Oh, yeah, no, there's no X about that, is what I just wrote down.
Okay, so there's not a current
13.
No, they'd have to come back.
plan or
They'd have to
something.
submit a permit. There's
Wait,
nothing
okay,
pending.
okay,
Yeah, no, I just showed that as an example, Kendra.
okay.
So there's a motion on the table to wait for direction from the town council. And a second, does everybody want to go along with?
All in favor?
Is everybody in favor of the motion?
All in favor, say aye.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. I might renominate you. I'm gonna have to talk about this. Let's just quickly noise ordinances. I'm just gonna move to that just because it was something also that Ellen Lynch has brought up. And it seems like we should spend more time on the comprehensive plan. And I'm not even sure that we would be the correct party to review the different noise ordinances. I think it came because we started talking about noise on the beach, some houses, about fireworks, that kind of thing. So what would be the appropriate thing to say? Would we even be the people to look at that and whether?
I would just reiterate that I think you can consider most anything. Your
Okay.
advisory in nature, so that if you decide to take that up, the other one you have zero authority to do, and it doesn't make sense to spend your time on whether something's getting paved or not. It fits in the plans and budget. This one, if you wanted to consider it, it's not necessarily anything in the zoning, which is primarily where you spend your time. But if you want to take it up and make proposals, you can. There's no process that if you propose some changes or eventually get to an ordinance to send that to the council, you'd be advisory in nature and doing a lot of their legwork if that's what you propose to do.
So is that something that I can continue to work with Ellen Lynch on to look at different ordinances? And then if we can table this for the time being and then come back?
Well, and if you're gonna do that, it's probably most appropriate to
Or just
from the council. If it truly,
Okay.
if you're going to work on some suggestions or things that you'd like, I'm sure if you wanna have some more meetings in, for the APC, it truly, your time's probably best spent, especially since you're not with the council, to take that right to the council.
So I think maybe Seth might make the same motion that he made before for the wait for direction from the town council, but I'll let you make the motion.
I'm hearing it separate, I don't think that Chris is saying wait for direction from the town council. I think he's saying we need to go with our recommendations to the town council.
We can,
Yeah, I just think that your efforts are best spent that.
Right.
If we think it's worthwhile, then we can put together some sort of ordinance and give it to the proposal to the town council who could either adopt it.
Right, but we need to do the work here first and then come to them and us or whatever and say, here's what we suggest, whatever, not here, you figure it out.
If that's what you're suggesting,
Yeah.
right, like the APC can't take it up and you do the work, or alternatively, for instance, if the pleasure is Anita's gonna work with Alan and then present something, then, we might want to just.
It would be difficult to write ordinance, looking at it around surrounding areas. They all have something in their ordinances about noise, down to the decibel. It's pretty interesting.
I think the thing you have to keep in mind is that's all well and good to have that flowery language and the decibels. You just have to think about the weight and the responsibilities that you're putting on your police department and can they really enforce this?
I'm just saying that when I started reading about it, thinking of Chicago and all those others, I'm just looking for something more common that when you ask them, and the police have gone there 2 or 3 times, they ask them to turn the music down, they don't. As soon as they drive away, they put it back up, and then are verbally antagonizing the neighbors, like, oh, but yeah, and, you know, I mean, it's bizarre. I've never been in that situation before.
Do you have thoughts on how to proceed? I'm just throwing these things out there.
I mean, I think the question is whether you guys want to take it up, either the line or the questions, whether we want to take it up.
Is anyone interested in taking this up, or would this be something that you would prefer that I work with a resident on, or?
He just needs to have so many, complaints, and then he can probably bring it to the town council.
All right, well, so it sounds like there's not really much for us to do here then.
You just entertain a motion on whether we want to take the issue from somebody, just ask for that.
All right, I'd like to entertain a motion whether we want to take up review of all the different noise ordinances.
Second,
So you make the motion, that we will take it up or we not?
would, like she said,
Okay.
I'm in agreement.
All in favor? Okay, of discussion. Thank you.
Do we have those ordinance?
We have several ordinances.
They're in different areas of the ordinances, but yes, we do.
So before taking up the discussion, how about we get educated first as to what these ordinances are?
Okay.
Well, that's part of the consideration.
I think my opinion, one night I'm sitting on the inside of the table, but I think let's do this and then give it to you, and, you know, a little bit more comprehensive than.
Well, I think it's our responsibility to consider the noise ordinance break one
Yeah.
if we decide to take it up. I don't think, you're obviously, your input is helpful. But I don't think you and Anita should be drafting an ordinance, it should be the APC or the town council.
I just did some research before.
So I can get copies, I can find different ordinances and then share them with everybody. That would be helpful. And then we'll see what our noise ordinances are.
Along with what's already exist.
Yeah, what the ones that already exist, and see if there's anything that we see that might change it or might help it.
Can we start to, we still have the. Well, we're taking it.
Oh, yeah, okay, so I made a motion whether we even want to take this up for research. Kendra second the motion. All in favor?
That's what we're talking about. I mean, if we have to,
Yeah.
everyone has to, we all just, I'm the only one that said yes.
What are you?
I'm the guy.
You're a nay?
Yeah.
What are you? Okay. Okay. Thank you. Now we move on to the comprehensive
So
plan.
that passed, right? 4-0,
4-1.
4-1. Sorry, 0.
So we'll pick that. But
Yes. Thank you. So that leads us to the comprehensive plan, and that was one of the reasons why I had asked Bob to come, because he had, you were there, so does anybody want Bob to discuss just a background, to tell us a little bit about the thinking behind the ordinance? We can have him stand up and chat with us for a minute or two.
So, I guess, are you gonna kind of tell us what your thoughts are on interpreting or changing or? Okay, you're just gonna tell us about the comprehensive plan. Okay,
So yeah, this was all Mr. Bivol's research found out that every 5 years, towns are supposed to do a comprehensive plan. And this town hadn't done them for like 12 or 15 years. So we had a number of workshops on the comprehensive plan because people had big interest in what we were deciding. So remember, I don't know if you remember, but we had workshops over at the gym. And people got pretty heated. In fact, we broke up into little groups to talk about different ideas that people had, and then kind of got together, tried to put them all together. And then they all went to the council voted on them. We had a company that helped us with it. Although I think what
Right,
they
we
have
can.
now is pretty good, and maybe all you need to do is tweak it, I don't know. But I think that'd be pretty easy if that's the way you guys want to proceed. That's kind of the deal. And it's just basically a guideline that helps you guys as the advisory plan commission to help make decisions.
So to that, and just to make it clear, Indiana doesn't have a requirement, but the general rule of thumb, and some states do require every 5 years. So it's not a mandate, but it's not a bad idea. You know, there are also some publications of not reinventing the wheel that I'll forward to everybody that will help you take into consideration of things. But yeah, it's definitely a process. It's not to say to shy away from that, because it's necessary, and the town is growing, and part of your responsibility along with this whole process is to shape where it's going, right? And what you want that to be, and trying to be forward looking as well. So that's certainly something that's in your purview to initiate.
So, I'll be just, not blunt, but I had no idea this existed until the building commission proposed to us that, they asked us to make a determination of whether or not the yield performance was within compliance with the comprehensive plan. I only read a very small portion of it and then realized that it's a fairly involved process. This is it's a comprehensive plan. And so, my thought is if the general rule of thumb is that we're supposed to update this every 5 years, then we're a little delinquent on that. I think this is a worthwhile project for the APC to take up. And I think we probably need to spend a lot of time both educating ourselves of the contents of the comprehensive plan and also the procedural process by which we can go about proposing updates to it to town council. But I personally think it's worthwhile.
Thank you. Jim?
Seth, this is a living document. And I was well aware of its existence. It's been a while since I've taken a look at it. One of the things I noticed is a lot of the demographic information is 10 years old. This town is different than it was back in 2014. It's aged, property values are higher and probably going to continue to climb. You have now in our geographic area, the double track is going to begin. Will there be an influx of more people from Chicago? Probably. Would they like to come to Long Beach? Probably. Will the drive prices up? Probably. Will it make the demand and maybe for services greater? So the need for a comprehensive plan is probably as great today as it was then, but it probably needs to be updated. And there's certain things that probably have been addressed or have been answered. Back then, the beach was a greater question. A lot of that, I think, has been solved. We still have things on there that we're trying to have pedestrian and bike traffic in town. That's still not answered, and I don't know if there is an answer. But those are some items that probably should be discussed further. So, and this is probably this good board and
Kendra?
Well, being new, and when I was getting together, and you said, on the comprehensive plan to the website, the website plan further off, and this can't be it, it's from 2016. So I agree, I think it's time.
Do I make a motion then that this is something that the APC wants to take on, or is this just a general thought that we want to take it on and we take this month to look at it
I feel
and,
like what might be appropriate is for everybody to get educated and then decide, you know, get with the town council, building commission, BZA, start to think about how it's gonna look, but then give everybody enough time to get familiar with that. They're gonna send, it's this, a citizen's planner guide, it's very basic, but it points to some relevant statutes in the process, because it is a big undertaking, but I think getting some baseline understanding for everybody is probably a good start.
And I mean, if we need like an official motion, I would make two motions. One is that the APC agreed to undertake a review of the comprehensive plan, and then make a second motion that we seek guidance from town council about which specific portions they would like to see developed or amended.
Further with that, I think it would be part and parcel of like that town council's involvement, so.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's a matter of how you want to drive the process going forward of reaching out or setting up a workshop with, you know, the town council and or BZA, building commission, or seeking, you know, maybe comments from them to start your direction from there. I would draw a second motion.
so,
No,
Nope.
I was just.
second, all right.
Just quick question, maybe Bob or Chris, because there was a pretty significant cost in doing this comprehensive plan the first time. We don't, since we're just tweaking it, we don't have to pay the firm again, right? We can just look at parts and maybe update with the help of Chris if it's a legal issue, right? Like, we don't have to go through that process again. It's worth it. I'm glad we did it, but we don't have to, now it's ours, we own it, we can tweak it without this company's help.
Yeah.
Okay.
Unless you feel, yeah, but oftentimes without, I wasn't involved in that process, and nor do I want to comment. What I see in other communities, this one's probably a little bit different, is you end up with canned versions. You have somebody come in, pay 6 figures plus, and they give you a canned version, and you end up with things that are in Naples, Florida that don't fit here. And so tailoring it to your community is important. So yeah, there's no requirement. The statutes are clear. We can read them in terms of process, and then you can always make that determination that you need somebody to, if something were a little bit more, or suggestions of how to deal with an issue from I guess, greater in-depth planning perspective. But in the short run, I think you guys are capable of
Great.
reviewing it and amending it.
Good to start undertaking the process to look at it. So,
Wendy, this was very contentious. Oh, if you're just tweaking it, it'll probably be a lot.
yep.
It's gonna be. It's gonna be contentious.
Yeah, probably. This is Long Beach.
So we have a motion on the table, which Diana has seconded, that the APC agrees to undertake a review of the 2016 comprehensive plan, 2016, I'm sorry, comprehensive plan. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. I guess at the next meeting, we'll,
Yeah, let's just.
yeah, we're good. Okay. All right, we'll just all kind of
Just
look
get
at
everybody
it.
to look at it, yeah.
All right. All right. Public comments, do we have anybody raising their hands on our computer?
I don't see anybody.
Any public comments in the audience? Closing matters, our next meeting is scheduled for May 20th, 2024 at 7 p.m. And my other closing matter, I believe that I introduced everyone to Diana Holt, but she's a new member on the committee. She took over Doug Beeler's term, which expired at the end of 2023. And Kendra and I are here as council members. Jim and Seth are still here, and Matt is still on the committee, and Meg Collins is our third person as a council appointment. And I think if that's all, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.